Hello Year 2, it's Miss Addy. Our learning question for maths today asks us, can I sort 2D shapes? Our steps to success say, I can describe the properties of 2D shapes, I can sort shapes by their criterion and category, and I can sort and organize shapes using a Venn diagram. Our first star word is 2D shape, and this is the topic that we've been learning about this week. We also have the word properties, and this is what we use when we're describing 2D shapes. We're describing which properties they have. So we're thinking about their sides and vertices and whether they are quadrilaterals or not. We're also learning about Venn diagrams today. So Venn diagram is another star word. We're going to find out what that is a little bit later on. And to use a Venn diagram, we need to know about different categories. So this is another star word for today. We've done lots of work on 2D shapes this week. Can you explain what a 2D shape is? 2D shapes are shapes that are two-dimensional. So the D in 2D stands for dimensional. This means that they have length and width, or that they have height and width. So our rectangle here is only 2D because it has height and width, whereas the cuboid here is 3D because it has height and width and depth. So 2D shapes are flat. Venn diagram is one of our star words for today. Have you heard of this word before? Have you made a Venn diagram before? A Venn diagram shows the relationship between a group of different things, so known as a set, in a visual way. So Venn diagrams are really helpful because we can look at them and work out the data and the information. Using Venn diagrams allows us to sort data into 2 or 3 circles which overlap in the middle. Venn diagrams help us to sort objects into different categories. So this is a picture of a blank Venn diagram, and here you can see 2 large circles and one is overlapping the other, so there is a smaller circle in the middle. One part of our Venn diagram allows us to sort objects into it according to its category, and then we can sort objects into the other part of the Venn diagram according to its category. And things that fall into the middle of the Venn diagram belong to both categories. So let's have a little go at making our own Venn diagram. Our Venn diagram is blank at the moment, so there's nothing in it other than the category titles. So one category title is land animals, and another category title is water animals. And you can see the animals at the top of the Venn diagram. We have a dog, a dolphin, a duck, a seahorse, a zebra, and a frog. What we're going to do is sort the animals into the correct part of the Venn diagram together. So let's start with the dog. Does the dog live on land or does the dog live in the water? A dog is a land animal. That means we put the dog into this part of the Venn diagram because this is the category that it comes under. Let's have a go at the next animal, a dolphin. What do you think? Is the dolphin a land animal or a water animal? Good, we know dolphins live in water, so it belongs in this section, this category on the Venn diagram. What about a duck? Do you think a duck is a land animal, a water animal, or maybe both? What do you think? A duck is both a land animal and a water animal, so it belongs in this middle section on the Venn diagram. The middle section of a Venn diagram is the overlapping part, so it falls under both categories. Let's have a go at the next animal. We have a seahorse. Where do you think the seahorse belongs on the Venn diagram? Good, it's also a water animal, so it belongs there. What about the zebra? The zebra is a land animal, so it belongs in this part of the Venn diagram. Lastly, let's have a go at the frog. Where should the frog go on the Venn diagram? The frog belongs in the middle part of the Venn diagram because the frog is both a land animal and a water animal. Let's have a quick go at completing this Venn diagram. It's using numbers instead. So our categories say numbers in the 5 times table and odd numbers. Our middle section will be for numbers that are both in the 5 times table and are also odd numbers. So let's have a go at the first number. The first number is number 10. Is the number 10 an odd number? No, so it can't go into that section of the Venn diagram. Is the number 10 part of the 5 times table? Yes, it is. So number 10 belongs in this part of the Venn diagram. Let's have a look at the next number. The next number is 31. Where do you think 31 belongs? Is 31 part of the 5 times table? No, it's not part of the 5 times table. Is it an odd number? Yes, it's an odd number, so it belongs over here. Let's sort the next number into the Venn diagram. The next number is the number 25. Now, is the number 25 part of the 5 times table? Yes, it is. Is the number 25 an odd number? Yes, it's an odd number as well. That means it falls under both categories. If it falls under both categories, where do you think it needs to go? The number 25 belongs in the middle section of the Venn diagram. That's because it falls under both categories. It is part of the 5 times table and it's an odd number as well. Let's have a go at the number 5. Have a think, where do you think the number 5 belongs? The next number is number 8. Where do you think number 8 belongs in the Venn diagram? Is the number 8 a part of the 5 times table? No, it's not. It doesn't belong there. Is the number 8 an odd number? No, it's also not an odd number, so it definitely can't go into any of those parts of the Venn diagram. Where do you think it might need to go? Number 8 needs to go outside of the Venn diagram because number 8 doesn't fall under any category. If something doesn't fall under any category, it cannot go in the Venn diagram. It needs to go outside of the Venn diagram. The next number is number 12. Where do you think number 12 will need to go? Good. Number 12 also needs to go outside of the Venn diagram because number 12 is not a number in the 5 times table and it is also not an odd number, which means it doesn't belong under any of those categories. The last number is the number 50. Where do you think the number 50 will belong? The number 50 belongs in this category. It belongs in the numbers in the 5 times table because 50 is part of the 5 times table, but it is not an odd number. So let's have a go now at using a Venn diagram to sort out the properties of shape. So first we need to label our categories. Let's label one of our categories as quadrilaterals, so shapes that have 4 sides. Let's label the other category as pink shapes. So here are the different shapes that we're going to be sorting into the Venn diagram. Pause the video for a minute and have a go at sorting some of the shapes on your own. Right, I hope you had a little go to sort the shapes out on your own. Let's sort them out together. The first shape is a square, and this shape is blue. So it's a blue square, and we know squares are quadrilaterals. So where do we think this square needs to go? Good, this square belongs in the quadrilaterals part of the Venn diagram. It's a quadrilateral, but it's not pink, so therefore it belongs there. Let's have a go at the next shape. We have a pink circle. Now, is a circle a quadrilateral? No, it's not. But is this a pink shape? Yes, it is. So it belongs over here. Now, the next shape is a rectangle, and it's a pink rectangle. Where do you think this rectangle belongs? This pink rectangle belongs on the inside part of our Venn diagram. the part where it overlaps, and that's because the rectangle is a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides, but it's also pink, so it comes under both categories, which means we can put it on the middle part of our Venn diagram. Let's have a go at the triangle. It's a yellow triangle. Is this triangle a quadrilateral? No, it's not. Is this triangle a pink shape? No, it's not. Where do we put the shapes that don't belong under any category? Can you remember? We put them on the outside of the Venn diagram, so let's do that. This triangle doesn't come under any category, so it cannot go inside the Venn diagram. What about the next shape? Do you know what shape this is called? This is a parallelogram. Now this parallelogram is 4-sided, as it's a quadrilateral. So we know this shape is a quadrilateral. Is this parallelogram pink? No, it's not. So where do you think it belongs? Good, it belongs over here. The next shape is a 5-sided shape. Do you remember what that shape is called? It's a pentagon. So we have a pink pentagon. Is this pentagon a quadrilateral? No, it's not. But is it a pink shape? Yes, it is. So our pink pentagon belongs in this part of the Venn diagram. Do you know what our next shape is called? This is called a trapezium. Now a trapezium has how many sides? 4 sides. So our 4-sided pink shape, where do we think that will belong? Great, our pink trapezium belongs in the middle part of the Venn diagram. And that's because it's a 4-sided shape, it is a quadrilateral, but it's also pink, so it comes under both categories. The last shape is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-sided shape. Can you remember what an 8-sided shape is called? It's an octagon. So is this a quadrilateral? No. Now is this shape a pink shape? No, so it doesn't fall under any category. Where must it go? Good work, it goes on the outside, just like the yellow triangle. We can use Venn diagrams to sort shapes using different categories. So have a look at this completed Venn diagram. We can see the categories are squares and green shapes. So all the squares go on one side, all of the green shapes go on the other side, and in the middle part of the Venn diagram are shapes that are both squares and green shapes. Having a look at this shape Venn diagram, the categories are red shapes and shapes that have 4 sides, so similar to what we just did together. And the middle section of that Venn diagram, where it overlaps, is shapes that have both of those categories. So your task for today, Year 2, is I'd like you to sort the shapes into the correct part of the Venn diagram. Now your categories in your Venn diagram today will say shapes with 4 or more sides and green shapes. Here are the shapes that I'd like you to sort in. So have a think, which category do they belong under? And will some of those shapes fall under both categories? Will some of those shapes fall under none of the categories? And your challenge is, can you think of any other shapes that could be added to the Venn diagram? Add your own shapes to each part of the Venn diagram. Enjoy your task, Year 2. Goodbye.